to tweet this out. I wonder if the people that made Spirit of 77 have a Twitter.
No idea.
Monkey Fun Studios.
One sec, I'll look.
They do. They do. I just added them. Let's see.
A bit much for a one-off, don't you think?
You know.
Go big or go home.
I did a live stream of Dungeons 3 and mentioned it, and the people who created it found my tweet and liked it. I didn't even at them or anything like that, so, you know. Yeah. Okay. Hello to the people in chat, but give me just a moment and we will begin with this. Let's see. All right. Now that that is tweeted out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to some character creation for a one-shot that I am going to be doing and streaming of Spirit of 77. We're going to go through some of the core rulebook. We're not going to go through the whole thing. We're not going to go through most of it. Just a little bit of character creation. All three of the people with me tonight have already made characters for the most part, I believe. But we're going to run through who their characters are, the steps that they did to make the characters, and some additional stuff that I don't think any of them have done. So real quick, with me tonight is one of my oldest and best friends, Onion Man Dan.
Yo.
We also have the lovely and wonderful Lady D.
Hi, I'm eating pizza.
And my friend Salix.
Hi.
We will possibly have a fourth, but they are still undecided at the moment, so I'm not going to name them just yet. So, first off, let's give the introduction. If everybody else will please mute their microphones in Discord, just so there's no extra sound coming through. April 1977, a chilly afternoon. Private investigator John Sampson leaned against a light post on the corner of 75th and Benson, brass knuckles clenched tight in his right fist in one pocket, his gold-plated revolver tucked into the other. From above, the tinny sound of a transistor radio drifted down from a half-opened window. Oh yeah, baby. You're listening to WRTR, 1:10 a.m. with Wolfgang at the top of the hour. Sampson's contact Fredo, a lieutenant in the Corsair Street Gang, was late. Sampson had been hired to find where the mob boys were hiding glam rocker Fata Morgana, and he was pretty sure Fredo could tell him. Morgana's sleazy manager was getting antsy. Her Feel Good Records debut was days away, and it wasn't cool that she was in the wind. "You looking for someone, puto?" Boppers. Two of them. They were tall and lanky in frayed peacoats, one of them holding a battered aluminum bat, the other twirling a short length of chain. Sampson couldn't believe they'd managed to creep up on him without him noticing. "Your friend Fredo isn't coming, tough guy," said the one with the chain. "Asking too many questions outside his turf got him messed up real bad." His partner tapped the business end of the bat against his palm. Sampson nodded, slipping the brass knuckles over his fingers. Things were about to get messy. Above, the voice of the DJ rattled on. "We gonna keep it coming at you with a little Maceo and the Max and cross the tracks," he growled. "Let's get it on!" Welcome to the Spirit of 77, the year after America's 200th birthday and Nixon's second term. It's a strange and violent time in American history, made even stranger with X-Tech and the glam movement. Gas prices have skyrocketed to nearly $1 a gallon, and the Cold War standoff with the Soviet Union has begun to heat up since Nixon's double-cross in Saigon. But the hottest part of America is in the city's trash-lined streets and midnight highways where cool tough guys from the street join crazy daredevil drivers and glittered starry-eyed rockers to fight the mafia underworld, weird sci-fi aberrations, and a corrupt system that keeps everyone on their toes. So what is Spirit of 77? Well, it's the best parts of a bad decade. Evel Knievel and Pam Grier, Alice Cooper and Bruce Lee, the Dukes of Hazzard and the $6 Million Man. Shaft. Spirit of 77 is a combination of muscle cars and Mack trucks, CB radios and kung fu fighters, cross-country road races and big scores in the big city with a killer soundtrack. Can you dig? It is non-stop full-throttle action. Put the pedal to the metal and drop the hammer. We got places to go, ammo to use, and buckets of fuel to burn. This ain't a game about exploring deep personal relationships between characters. It's about fast-drawing gangsters leading angry cops on a non-stop high-speed chase through rain-slick city streets, swaggering away from explosions in slow motion and striking a cool pose while delivering an awesome one-liner at just the right time. It's about Watergate and weird science. What's more amazing? The super science of X technology that brought us things like Skylab, bionics and computers that can fit on your desk, or tricky Dick Nixon beating the Watergate rap with a public apology. Both are complete mysteries, making the 70s into the weird world it is in Spirit of 77. Politics and truth-seeking have become even more dangerous since the manufactured flap over that hotel break-in, and the end of Vietnam went weirder than anyone could have predicted. So some of the really fun parts of this system, in order to do something, you do it. It is super important to remember that the fiction comes first, and everyone in the game is responsible for it, not just the DJ. If you want your character to do something, do it, and don't be afraid to define the scene yourself. Add scenery, props, and even characters as long as they make sense for the fiction and let you do what you want. It uses 2d6s for the system. Generally, a 10 or higher is considered a full success and your character does exactly what you described, if not more. If the result is higher than 6 but lower than 10, a 7 to 9, it is considered a partial success and you either partially succeeded in your task or you succeeded with a cost. And if the result is 6 or lower, it is considered a failure. You fail to get the results what you want and I get to take actions against you. Now, there is a bunch of other stuff to this system as well, such as, let's see, got a bunch of stuff from chat. There are stats in this. We typically use 2d6 and add specific stats to the roll, but pretty much everything is resolved via 2d6. Some other interesting things to note about this system: ammo is not a thing. You are not going to keep track of the amount of bullets or arrows or what have you for your weapon. The only way
Doesn't, why should you?
Say what?
Since Shaft doesn't, why should you?
Pretty much the only time ammo is going to run out is if the DJ decides that it would be very dramatic for the story right then. As stated before, players can add things to the sceneries, including props, people, and just whatever they want, so long as it makes sense to the fiction. The fiction being the story, the scene, everything that goes in. let's see. The only times you are going to roll dice in this is when it's difficult, such as, for example, unlocking your front door does not require a roll, but cracking a safe before zombie dinosaurs knock down the building does. You should only roll dice when there are consequences for failure. Example, climbing a rope up a 6-foot wall does not require a roll, but walking a tightrope between 2 10th-story rooftops does. And the other time is when 2 characters are trying to influence a scene or an NPC or something like that at the same time. The dice will decide who succeeds. The reasoning for this is that you guys are heroes. You are highly competent at what you do, and you are not arbitrarily going to fail to accomplish simple things. And if there are no consequences for an action, you're just going to keep going until you succeed anyway, so just give it to you if there's no consequences and it's not difficult. The other cool thing about this, and even though this is a one-shot, we will be utilizing XP. I do not know how effective XP is going to be, but we will be utilizing it. Whenever you roll on a failure, whenever you roll a failure, you get 1 XP. That can happen multiple times in a session, and it takes... You start off at 1 XP, and you have to get 6 XP to get to the next level. When you get to the next level, you can choose from a number of things, which we will cover later on. We're going to go straight to the characters. First thing, Dan, have you made a character?
I'm currently in the process of it, but I do have a general idea of what I'm doing.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
let's see. What is your role?
I am a sleuth.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to have 2 sleuths in the team then.
Oh, nice.
And what is your story?
Story is... Well, first off, my character's name is Jeff Dagan.
I don't mean your backstory. I mean your secondary class characteristic. Are you an all-star or an ex-con? That stuff.
You'll have to get back to that. Former badge.
Former badge? Okay, so we have 2 sleuths that are also former badges.
Well, I mean...
Resnick, I'm not answering your question. Quit spamming it at me. Please and thank you. Let's see. And I have to say, I love the descriptions for the actions that you can take. Like, when they describe what you can do with your stats, they are literally actions that you can take. It is the name of specific actions. Like, if you're in melee combat, you are not attacking with melee, you're delivering a beatdown. If you're trying to tank your way through a hit, you are trying to take a hit. And if you're trying to intimidate via strength, you are getting in their face. And they have a really cool way of separating when you should use might for intimidation and when you should use smooth or, charisma for intimidation. Essentially, might is when you intend to follow through on your threat of violence if they do not do what you want. Smooth is for when you do not intend or you can't follow through on the threat of violence. But let's see. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're not going to go over it right now because not everybody here has a whole lot of time. We are going to go straight to wherever the hell the sleuth's page was. That was 90-something, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go.
I'm mostly working rap sheet at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like a lot of this stuff is on the rap sheet. So Dan, have you got your stat allotment?
I am going for the I've got a knack for it.
Okay. All right. So one of your stats is going to get +2. Two of your stats are going to get +1, and two of your stats are going to get no bonuses.
Yep. With my brains at +2,
Okay.
my might and smooth at 1, and my soul and hustle at 0.
Okay. And as a sleuth, you automatically get an additional +1 to your brains. Because you are not the average bear.
Nice.
You also get the bonus of crime scene investigation. When you are scoping out the scene of a recent crime, you can additionally choose to ask these questions. And I'm going to preempt this by saying it does not state that I have to answer these questions. However, I'm assuming the fact that you are allowed to ask these questions means I am obligated to answer them in some form. So the questions that you can ask is, how long ago did the crime take place? How many people were involved in the crime? How did the perpetrator or the victim of the crime enter and leave the scene? And who is the most obvious suspect? And then finally you get to choose one from a list of moves. You have Would You Look at That, where if you create a distraction before striking somebody, you get to roll with something extra, which is their version of rolling advantage, and deal +1 stun damage. Oh, and so that people are aware of what something extra and something less is, something extra is you get to roll 3d6 and take away the lowest of the 3 dice. Rolling with something less is you roll 3d6 and take away the highest of the 3 dice. You can also choose Master of Disguise, where if you take the time to create a convincing disguise for yourself or others, you roll +brains and mark a use of your disguise kit. What is really cool about this is on a 10 or higher, only the most scrutinous examination would reveal the disguised person to be anyone other than who they say they are. The way I described this to Salix when we were making his character was that if you're trying to infiltrate a bar or a club, the bouncer is not going to see through your disguise. He ain't looking that closely. However, if you're trying to get to the owner of the club in the VIP section, his personal bodyguard is going to look at you pretty freaking closely. However, if you just roll a 7 or a 9, then the person that is disguised gets to roll with something extra for any rolls to convince someone that they are who they say they are. You could choose It's Only Logical, where if you make a rational and logical argument in favor of a decision, you may roll +brains instead of +smooth to get what you want.
Which is what I'm taking.
Okay. And just because I really want to go over this one,
Yeah, go for it.
Encyclopedic Memory is really cool, and I know Salix took this one. Right, Salix? You took Encyclopedic Memory, right?
I did, yes.
Okay. So, with Encyclopedic Memory, if they are delving into their vast storehouse of personal knowledge when analyzing something, and they get to roll +brains. On a 10 or higher, I have to tell them something interesting and potentially useful about the subject that is relevant to the situation. Then the player tells me how they know it. On a 7 to 9, the DJ will just tell you something interesting. Then they tell the DJ how they know this. Now, the reason we are making these characters together is because of the hooks. There are 2 special things that every character gets. You get a buzz and a hook. Both of these are worth XP. Buzzes are things you can only get once per session. And they have to do with your character's motivation for the adventure itself. The hooks are things that can be resolved throughout a session, and they can be resolved multiple times in a session for more XP. The hooks are specifically designed around each character. This is basically why you are working with these other people. You are not just adventurers who met in a bar. You are people who have a reason to work together, and that is what your hook is. So, we've gone. Let's see. So, Dan, please describe your character
Well,
or what you
no,
have.
yes, when he was young, Jeff was a very tall man, standing at 6'3", but with a combination of age and a severe back injury during his career as a police officer. He is now quite hunched over, like hilariously so, and stands at 5'5" while hunched over.
Oh my god, that just sounds painful.
Yeah, well, considering his true height is 6'3", yeah.
Yeah.
He's got black, graying, and balding hair. His eyes are a jaundiced green from all the smoking that he's been doing over the years. Other than that, he's more or less dressed like a normal person with a penchant for, I guess, wearing bright yellow and red flannel shirts with very sloppily made ties.
Do the ties hang down as you're hunched over?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if you were gonna have them like affixed to your
Sometimes
clothes or.
if he's doing a task that involves being near moving parts, he'll tuck the tie into his shirt buttons. But other than that, he's out of fucks to give in regards to his personal appearance.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He's a married man. He's from Idaho, USA, which is how he got his alias Idaho 50, which was the year he graduated high school and joined the police force.
Nice. Nice.
And 27 years later, he's more or less unofficially retired. The books still say he's on the force when he's basically not had a proper case to work on in a long time. It's why he does vigilante stuff now.
Okay. All right. With that, we are going to pass it over to D. D, if you are ready, please tell us a bit about your character. Tell us your role, your story, and your description and all of that.
Okay, my role is the rocker, and my story is glam. And where do you want me to start?
Start as far back as you have in your backstory.
Okay, now just to be clear, this is something that I came up with, right? This isn't something that I had to piece together from the book, right?
Right. This particular your backstory is what you came up with.
Okay, so my character is Blake Erie. He is a glam rocker from London, United Kingdom. He is married to the stars, according to him. And he's not too tall. He's 5'9". He's kind of scrawny though, but he's like 160 pounds. He grew up, kind of well-to-do. He came up through like the British club scene, like throughout like the late 60s. kind of changing his persona every couple of years. Um, he claims that David Bowie stole a lot of his stuff, whether it be his songs, his image, his voice, his look, which is different than image. Um, but he's got remarkably similar stuff to David Bowie, and just is kind of got a personal vendetta against him.
Okay.
He also believes he's an alien.
Anything else?
Um, he speaks everything he says. He talks about space and sparkles and glitter all the time.
I like this character already.
He is known by several nicknames like Star Baby Prime, Capra Unicorn, Space Cosmo Jim, and Homo Superior, in reference to his middle initial, which is S for Superior. So Blake Superior Erie.
Nice. And finally, if there's nothing else, D.
Well, I mean, I got like the stats and like roll moves and the like.
Yes,
Didn't know if you want me to go there.
Yes, actually, thank you. Let's talk about that. What are your stats in? And your
Well,
moves.
I chose solo artist for the attributes, which is 2 twos, a 1, and 2 negative ones.
And just to be clear about those negative ones, leveling up does allow you to raise an attribute. You cannot raise negative ones. They are permanent disadvantages.
I am aware. So Blake Erie, I put his negative ones into might because he's a scrawny guy. He's not gonna be strong arm in anything. And
Fair enough.
in brains because he's not that smart.
Fair enough.
Simple as that. He once got into a staring contest with a potato and lost.
That is amazing.
Well, to be fair, a potato has many more eyes than he does.
This is true.
I said.
Yes, Resnick. Lady D is doing solo artist, so the 2 negatives. And where are your 2 positives, or your 3 positives rather?
Well, I put my +1 into hustle, and one of my 2s into smooth because even though he's dumb as a brick, he is smooth as butter. So brick made of butter.
Hey, sometimes the dumbest people are the most charming.
And I put the other 2 into soul, and because he gets mesmerizing, he gets a +1 added to his soul, so a maximum of 3, which is what his stat is.
Yes. No, remember Resnick. Number 1, Resnick, the rocker has to have soul, so it needs to be their best stat. Number 2, it does not matter what your attributes give. If you take a -1, it does not get raised. Period.
I may not be smart, but I got that spark. And I went to Little Jazz because I'm a genre-shifting alien.
And what 2 rocker moves did you take?
The 2 rocker moves I took, Backstage Pass. In the nighttime world, they always believe you're either with the band or on the list. You can always get into or... Okay, I think they mistyped this.
No, I think they meant you can get into a venue, such as a concert, theater, or nightclub, or you can get backstage at that same venue.
Okay, it still is grammatically weird, but
it's
whatever.
Weird, yeah, agreed.
Always get into or backstage at a venue. Okay, now that I've read it aloud, yeah, that makes sense. Such as a concert, theater, or nightclub. Getting other people in with you will require a successful getting what you want move.
Okay, and your second one?
And Black Belt in Crazy. when you sit out a fight to play an inspiring tune to fire up your friends, While performing, everyone on the team rolls with something extra and gains the area trait for their melee attacks.
That's actually super powerful. I like
I
that.
know. Channeling the cosmic rays. Yes. So that's his role. Story. Well, he's got glam. By default, he gets Who Looks Fabulous. While you are wearing your glamorous wardrobe, anytime you are called upon to roll plus smooth, you can roll plus soul instead.
This is part of the glam stuff you said?
Yes, this is part of the glam story. Yes.
Okay. And that was this was the Who Looks Fabulous move?
Yep, that's
Okay.
the default one. Yep.
And what was the extra one that you chose?
Dazzling Comeback. When you've been disabled, restrained, knocked unconscious, or otherwise taken out of the fight, raise your hand, point to the sky, and call upon the power of glam, and roll plus soul. On a 10 plus, you recover enough harm to keep fighting, stand up, or break your bonds, and roll with something extra for the rest of the combat. On a 7 to 9, you recover enough harm to keep fighting, stand up, or break your bonds.
Okay.
Alright, and gear and things. So I wanted to run a couple of these by you. So his default attire is a sequined deep V cut jumpsuit with a rhinestone codpiece.
Mm-hmm.
He carries a glitter coated acoustic guitar and flyers for his next show. And also 6 cans of hairspray. That's what I wanted to run by you.
Say all that one more time. I had something pop up on my phone. I apologize.
Okay, 6 cans of hairspray.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know like how like what weapons are able to be had, or if there are any limitations. But I want to ask you about that.
There are a number of weapons that can be had, and the cool thing about gear in this, your starting gear, you can add stuff to it from the gear list. It just has to make sense for your character. It is
okay.
also totally possible to turn an instrument into a weapon.
I would never use
Power of
an
rock,
instrument
after
like
all.
that.
Yeah, technically one of your weapons is your song, so you can hit enemies with your song.
I was thinking of getting like a oh, come on. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the handbook. Where do I find the weapons list?
That would be under gear, I believe.
Gear and thing. Yeah, gear, basic equipment, weapon trades, kits.
Okay.
Look on page 132.
Okay, 132. 132, I'm looking for you.
And also, you being your class is what again? The
The rocker.
The rocker.
rocker. You already have some starting gear there.
Yeah, but none of them are really weapons, and I kind of just bullshitted hairspray into that.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, let's see here. Basic armor. How about a switchblade and a 38 revolver coated in glitter?
Okay.
Both
Sounds
of
good.
which coated in glitter.
And there's Lisk in chat gifting 5 more tier 1 subs because the sponsor of tonight's stream is Lisco. If you need it dead, ask Lisco.
Yay, I got a gift sub.
Yeah, thank you, Lisk.
Thank you, Lisk.
Hi, buddy.
Thanks.
Now I wanted to ask you about buzz and hooks. Like I didn't really quite get that.
Yes.
That far looking into things.
We're gonna go over the hooks once we go through everybody's characters, and I'll tell you why at that time.
Okay.
The buzzes we'll go over after that.
Okay.
Salix, it is
Yeah.
time. It is time to describe your character, my friend.
Right. Okay, this should be fun.
I'm a
So
tough act to follow.
funny. So I'm playing a former badge sleuth named Leon Sampson. Bullets. She's about 5'11", just very plain looking. She was sorry. She was wrongfully kicked off the force because my mind went completely blank, Pollux.
Take your time.
Right.
Your character was wrongly kicked off of the force.
Right. So, as a member of the force, she was a very good cop. And everybody on the force liked her, as far as she knew. That being said, on a patrol gone bad, her partner got seriously hurt. And everything pointing, all of the evidence was pointing to her, despite the fact that there was nothing that could be done to lock her up, essentially. And she didn't actually do it. So she got discharged from the force. And now she's making it to figure out what happened and essentially clear her name.
All right.
She just has like faded black jeans and a t-shirt, tennis shoes. And she has a .38 revolver and a tape recorder that she takes everywhere. And a mini first aid kit. The stats are, I have +2 in smooth, a +1 in brains, plus the +1 I get from sleuth, making it 2, and +1 in hustle, and a 0 in might and soul. And then I took encyclopedic memory and last Boy Scout.
Okay.
I don't believe that was described to the people at home.
Last Boy Scout?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please describe the last Boy Scout for us.
Okay, 1 second.
If not, I will. I'm close to it, so I can describe
Right.
it.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah,
close to it. Okay.
I'm
There
right
we
at
go.
it.
All right. Yes. Please go ahead.
Last Boy Scout is when you act to protect a civilian that cannot protect themselves, roll with something extra. So it basically means if you're standing in front of somebody, specifically I'm guessing an NPC, And
Specifically, yeah, it's considered a civilian, which is definitely an NPC.
okay. So basically, what I assume it means is as long as you're in between them and whatever you're fighting, it essentially gives them the chance to get out.
Uh, what it does is if a civilian that cannot protect themselves, so either someone that is unconscious or too terrified to move,
Right.
or what have you, if you are protecting them in some way, then you roll with something extra.
Right.
It's not just that they get the chance to leave. It's just
You get advantage.
You get advantage. Yes.
Right. As for my thing, I got a skilled tech.
Oh yeah, and we'll go over the things in a minute. We're just going over the basics right now.
Okay. Sorry.
You're good. So, now that everybody has heard each other's characters, the differences between the buzz and the hooks. There are very specific buzzes that you choose from a list. I do not remember what page that list is on.
I am here. Give me a moment.
126.
124.
One of those two numbers. One
125 has all the lists of it.
Yeah, 125 is the actual list itself. So,
Ah,
the buzz is your character's motivation for going on the adventure. You are either motivated by a desire to reveal the truth, or a desire for cold hard cash, or fame and glory. Just what all of those different things can be the reason why you are on this specific adventure. The hook, however, is why you are working with the characters in the party. And it could be good and it could be bad. They could have damning information on you and you need to make sure that they live. They could be your best friend. They could be your neighbor, and you're just trying to be a good neighbor and helping them out. There is any number of things that could be a reason for why it's your hook.
Speaking of which,
And now you all each get one hook. So you need to discuss who your hook is with and what the hook is.
oh, since, sorry, I forgot your name. We've only met now, but my fellow sleuth,
That's me.
Salix.
Yeah.
How about if our characters were partners on the force?
That would explain how you got your back injury.
Possibly.
That could work.
Okay. So for Dan, his hook is specifically with Salix's character, and is it good or bad that your partner caused your back injury?
I didn't say the partner caused the back injury. She was just
Everyone
when it
thinks
happened.
she did.
Okay. So could it possibly be that Dan, your character knows that your partner didn't cause the back injury, and you're trying to help, prove them innocent?
Yeah.
Okay. D.
What is your character's name, by the way, Salix?
Leon Sampson.
Leon. Sam.
Right.
All right.
D. Who do you think that your hook would be with? D, you there? Your microphone's muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, weird because it's showing the mute thing on my screen. Anyway,
That's
whatever.
weird. Yeah.
It's showing the opposite of what it is. Let me think here. I mean, it could be with either character. I'm thinking maybe like I'm like a drug bust that like happened once, but I got off like I beat the rap, and then I've just been kind of hanging around one of them like an annoying habit for the
Maybe
last
we
couple of
booked you
years. Yeah.
once. You know?
You keep cutting out.
I said maybe we booked you once.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I feel.
Except you beat the rap, and therefore we got our eyes on you.
And I'm just dumb, so I think that you guys are my friends now.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that'll work.
Blissful ignorance.
What are your characters' names, real quick?
Mine's Jeff Dagan. I'll write it down for you.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
Big gun. And my character is Blake Erie.
Right.
Really?
Like,
And
Yeah, let
if
me-
and Resnick is requesting, let's see. I will put this stuff in chat for Resnick. And yeah, Salix, if you will type your character's name into chat, please.
right.
Cool.
Dion Sampson Salix. And okay, Salix. What is your hook and to who?
One second. I guess it's that Leon and Jaffer Ford were partners. Leon's trying to watch out for Jeff because he has the back injury, and even if she didn't actually cause it, she feels responsible for it. So she wants to make sure he's okay.
All right.
We work as a unit.
Yeah.
Now, what is everyone's buzz?
My buzz is justice.
Okay.
My buzz is the truth.
And my buzz is respect.
All right.
I will be
Although
a
I-
big star.
Yeah, well, this is Buzz is personal motivations, right? So
Your buzz is your personal motivation for the adventure. Your hook is your personal motivation for working with the other characters.
yeah, justice will do fine.
Okay.
I may not be a cop anymore, but damn it if I don't still act like one.
Now, everybody gets one thing. It's Yo Thang. What
Isn't
you gonna
that-
do?
Didn't
But,
it say you only get that thing if you choose to forego?
No, you can get extra things if you choose to forego the extra moves. But you always start off with one.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, each character starts with one thing, which is a permanent part of what makes your character who they are. This is page 129, by the way. And as such, they can never be permanently lost, stolen, or destroyed. No matter what happens, somehow your thing will return. Let's see. And gear is replaceable items that you equip your character with, but they don't. Your character doesn't have a special attachment, and they are not super special quality. So Dan, what is your thing?
Good question.
Page 130 starts the list.
I've been perusing through it. I was considering getting a car, but I have like no hustle, so I wouldn't be able to drive it very well.
Okay.
So probably no to the car. Get back to me. I'll
Okay. D, what is your thing?
I am still browsing the list myself. I mean, I feel like Fame would be a good one, but it's also a little too on the nose because, you know, David Bowie. Like, Connections could be good too. God.
I'd say credentials for mine.
Credentials for Dan?
Yeah.
Okay.
My police badge, which is still technically valid,
Alright.
as I am on medical leave officially.
Okay. D, since you're still choosing, we'll pop over to Salix real quick. 'Cause Salix, I think you said you already picked your thing?
Yeah, I picked skilled tech. It's
Yes.
you got a companion that's always available to patch you or your gear up.
And
I chose
go ahead.
technological.
Yes, they are very techy. They're good with computers, specifically electronics and computers.
Right.
And yes, they are always available. They work for free, and they never ask questions. Extremely important.
Yep.
Aptitude would have been one too. I mean, damn it! I think I'll just stick with the connection or credentials rather.
Okay. Any ideas, D?
Well,
And there's no rush.
I'm also thinking Special Instrument might be a good one too, but like I gotta figure out like what are the options to make that special. It's already covered in glitter.
I figure it would be stuff like adding attributes to the like adding traits to the weapon or the instrument rather.
Okay, so like I could like say, let's see.
Page 135, weapon traits.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like any of those ones. So,
It continues on 136, but yeah.
yeah, I glanced at them. I think I'm gonna go with Connections
Connections, okay?
because my character is kind of the person who tries to weasel their way into everywhere to be, you know, seen and try to look like a big shot.
Okay. That's fine, Resnick. No problem. Something that I want to tell the people watching this because I think it is such a funny thing. Dan, once upon a time, actually ran a game of Spirit of 77 for me and several others. This was fucking years ago.
Oh, yeah, probably like 7 years ago.
Something like that, like 5 to 7 years, somewhere around there. I made a character called Jin Jin. There's more to her name, but that was her name on the streets. She was a high-ranking official in the Chinese triads. And she had two very special abilities. One was connections, where if I rolled really well, I know just the guy and the DJ will give me some useful info. And the other was from the ex-con, where I know former inmates who can tell me information as well. My status in the triads was an information broker, and my buzz was cold hard cash. So whenever I earned money in-game, I got a free XP every session. How did I earn that money?
By doing your job.
I fucking coerced the party into paying for the information that I got for them every time.
I forgot about that. It's been years.
Fucking loved that plan. Oh, and oh god, hold on, I have to pull up her character sheet. You gave it to me a while back, Dan, because I had something special as well. Her thing was she had a buddy that helped her out. She had a sidekick that was named Ma Dun Nao, and he was essentially the large Asian villain from Austin Powers. Side Job, that was his name.
Odd job.
Was it Side Job or Odd Job?
Odd job.
Odd job.
Odd Job.
Was it
Odd Job was the one from James Bond.
It was one
yeah,
from
it was
James
the
Bond.
short
Okay.
one.
From Austin Powers.
Okay. So yeah, it was essentially it was either of them are interchangeable, and this probably the one from James Bond makes more sense because it's a little more serious. But that was essentially who it was. He did all of her fighting for her. He followed her around everywhere. He was her personal bodyguard, and he was fucking amazing, and I love him.
Quick question, Miyoko. May I swap my point of might for hustle?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Right, because I figure I'm not going to be doing much fisticuffs with my back.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Let's see. And finally, there is gear. Do you guys think that you would need any additional gear, other than what's already been stated to me?
Maybe not additional gear, but I just wanted to ask you about the hairspray. How heavy could I bullshit that hairspray as far as its utility?
Pretty heavily, and since there's no ammo, actually no, this would technically count as a mace canister, so those are finite.
It would be finite.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking
what is
I could just like BS it into saying, "Oh, it's knockout gas. Oh, it's fucking, I don't know, mace. It's
Flame.
I would say that with your brains, having the negative in brains, I don't think that your character would have a hairspray canister filled with knockout gas. If you did,
what if he thinks it does?
if you did, I would have you take the 6 hairspray cans, and in order to find the right one, you have to roll a d6.
What
Just
if
have
he
it.
only thinks that it does that, and it's
This is-
literally just like glittery hairspray he's just spraying at people,
This
And
isn't
it's-
the Warhammer 40k warp. You can't. Belief doesn't make it real.
I'd say
No, but he's dumb. He's dumb. It doesn't actually do that. It's just like literally mundane fucking glittery hairspray.
I would say
Both are
have
hilarious.
a list of 6 different things and then roll a d6 and you have to use the one it lands on.
Yeah, that one does sound pretty entertaining.
That's so funny.
And if nothing else, we can explain it as your connections got these for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well we can discuss that more.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 weeks to discuss this. So
Oh, so we are pushing it back a week?
yeah, I think we're gonna push it back a week, just because next week is 4th of July, so everybody's
All right.
schedules are kind of hectic.
Right.
Oh, so I did develop the hook just a little bit more.
Okay.
So Blake Erie thinks that he's friends with Jeff and Leon because they once arrested him for cocaine possession. Though he beat that rap, he feels that they were nicer to him than most other cops he has ever dealt with. So, because he's a very strange person, he thinks that makes them friends.
That is good. I would say keep working on it just a little bit, because the hooks are things that can be resolved, and that's more of an ongoing, just this is my relationship with them.
Are you implementing the theme song rule?
I am very tempted to do so.
The what?
The theme
Base,
song.
basically, each person searches the internet for a song from the 70s, which is going to be the theme song of your character.
Okay.
I am very tempted to do so.
It's something.
David Bowie's Starman.
It's something not from the free rule book. It's from the Wide World of 77 expansion book.
Yeah.
But, you don't have to do it. It's, at least when I was running Spirit of 77, you didn't have to come up with a theme song for your character, but it just made things
Cooler?
amusing. Yeah. Well, I mean, Shaft has his theme song.
Oh, and I will make a correction. I was wrong about the hooks. You can have more than one. So if you wish to make a hook for each character, or if you have multiple hooks with a character, then feel free to make those. But just remember that
How about
just
go ahead.
just remember that the hook is something that can be resolved. It does not have to be resolved immediately, but it is something that can be resolved. It is a piece of information about them that
What?
it is a situation that can end, essentially.
I've already listed, like, about half an hour ago, I already put down that that I had booked Blake earlier in the I booked Blake in the past.
Yeah, but that is not stating something that can be resolved. It's something that happened, but it is not necessarily.
I put down he beat the rap, but I've got my eyes on him. He thinks we're friends.
Okay. All
See,
right.
That makes sense.
for Jeff, I put partner trying to prove Leon's innocence in the fact that she's the one that caused his injury.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for Blake, I put drug bust turned stalker.
Oh, that feeds into this idea I had. Maybe I owe Leon some money because Leon thought that she could get me to leave if she gave me money, and it didn't work. I don't know. We could workshop that a little bit more, but that's kind of like where my head was going.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm perusing through the various books and stuff. At least when I got this game, and therefore, or when I got this game, I got a whole bunch of supplies or various supplemental books for it, and I gave these books to Miyoko. There wasn't a whole lot at the time, and I have no idea if they've actually made more for it since then.
They've made a few adventures, but I don't know about. I don't think additional rule books per se.
So just the core rulebook and Wide World.
Yeah, I believe so. I know they had the double features, but I think those were adventures.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, they did.
And Women's Prison of the Apes.
So I will tell you guys what the adventure is going to be, or at least what the name of it is, and you guys will decide how you interacted or how you got here. The name of the adventure is The Cruise Ship of the Damned.
Suddenly I'm relieved I didn't make a car my thing.
I know, right?
Hey, it might be a ferry too. It might have our cars and.
That's not the point. It's
It's a
the
cruise
ability
ship.
to drive said car.
I mean, you're the one
I'm
that gets to
channeling my
edit the
character.
scene.
My character's dumb. He doesn't quite get this.
But,
Where he's from, cars are small.
Oh my god, this reminds
So-
me of the Spirit of 77 games I ran, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that you were in, Miyoko.
the cruise ship of the damned, we were a part of it. We did a little bit of
I
it.
know that we ran that before, but I'm recalling something from one of the double features. I ran one of the double features for a group on this game, and one of the group members was a good old boy for his class, and so he straight up got like the Dukes of Hazzard's card, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I remember what it was. I remember what happened. So basically, a long confusing story short, the group had made friends with Sasquatch, who was hotboxing in the back of a 18-wheeler.
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Neither does Sasquatch.
So this must have been after the group after you. But,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, they made friends with Sasquatch, who was hotboxing in the back of an 18-wheeler, and we were basically doing like a wacky version of Smokey and the Bandit, where they have like overly cut, like obscenely determined cops to arrest these guys, and one of the stunts that the good old boy did was he flipped his car on the side down an alleyway, and then had it just like land perfectly and keep driving on the other side of the alley. And the police car, the sheriff car, just like smashed right into the the narrow alleyway and basically lost his wheels, and just all it was just the body of the car skidding, grinding against the pavement as it went, like, because he went like full tilt through this fucking alleyway like a moron. But he survived. The cop survived. It's just he couldn't pull off that kind of stunt. I was just like, I'm going to let this happen.
So, I do remember which adventure I was a part of, or which story I was a part of. I don't remember the name of the one special character that we were facing, but I remember the details about him. He was essentially this eccentric, reality-bending Chinese wizard, and he was invulnerable to pretty much everything. But he paid his minions really well, like millions of dollars well. Except that the money disappeared in 3 days if they didn't use it. And I remember that my character, we encountered him, realized we couldn't kill him, and then we heard that he pays super well, and my character is just like, I'm gonna go work for him now. And so we have the job interview in a restaurant, and the guy comes up with a couple of tasks that I have to accomplish. And the very first one is he pulls a puppy out of nowhere. And this is going to make some people sad. But he pulls a puppy out of nowhere and says, "You have to kill this puppy." So my character, in the middle of this restaurant, pulls out her .38 revolver and shoots it.
Wow.
Just stone fucking cold.
That is cold.
I already said, Resnick, he was invulnerable. I literally couldn't do anything else.
I mean, I guess if
Plus-
a wizard tells you, you know.
Plus, my character is a high-ranking Chinese triad member. She is literally a high-ranking mafioso. And
Yeah.
her whole thing is that she is motivated by cold, hard cash. She cares about the people underneath her. Everything else she gives no fucks about.
Well, there's a way to turn Blake Erie into John Wick. So.
The other task, if I remember correctly, is he teleported us to the top of a mountain and he told me to run around the world 3 times across this line, so I just stepped back and forth over the line a few times. And he was just like, huh, I hadn't considered that. I know the final task, my character did not do. She instead got her sidekick to do. I forget what it was, but I remember that some of the, one of the tasks she got Ma Dun Kao to do. But no, it was really cool when we figured out that the money disappeared, because he didn't say that in the interview. He just paid her $3 million up front. 3 days later, it disappears out of her bank account, because no way in hell is she gonna spend $3 million.
Not with that heat.
Yeah. So it disappears, and she goes to him and is like, what the fuck? We had a deal. And he's just like, this is what happens. It's magic. It goes away after a while. And so
My end of the bargain.
yeah. He basically like no clips through a wall, just like, essentially, I'm done with this. It's essentially just, I'm done with this conversation. So my character just follows him down the street with her .38, shooting him while he's flying through the air. And the whole scene is just bang, ow, stop that, bang, ow, bang, ow, no, stop.
You really ran this? I vaguely recall this, but I'm trying to remember like which adventure this was exactly.
It didn't go on for much longer after that. Unfortunately, the group fell apart.
Yeah.
But we started off with Cruise Ship of the Damned. We all survived that, and then got back to the city, and
It was
we're
Wrath of Khan.
yeah, Wrath of Khan. That was it.
Wrath of Khans.
Cons, Wrath of Retcons. That's
No, Khan. Just
Ret.
Khans.
Yep, retcons. Anyway, but yeah, my character was a bitch. Just straight up a cold hard bitch. Just shot a fucking puppy for money. Oh, and I'm a terrible person for laughing about it. So,
We had good times.
yes. So, there are a few things to note. Number one, how are your characters getting to this cruise ship? Keep in mind that this should be fairly normal. Like, either you're performing or you're following a lead or something like that, or like just different normal reasonings. That's fine, Resnick. Absolutely quote that. So Dan, why are you on this cruise ship?
Jeff wanted to get away for a bit.
Fair enough. Salix.
He's absolutely miserable in his medical leave.
Yeah. Salix, why are you on this cruise ship?
Let me think for a minute.
While you're thinking, D, why is Blake Yeary on this cruise ship?
Partially because he strong-armed his way. Strong-arm being, like metaphorically. He bullied his way into being the feature performer at, the cruise ship's stage because he's the thing that Jeff wanted to get away from.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
That's probably the reason Leon is going, to make sure no one kills each other. Kill each other.
Jeff doesn't strangle him with one of his ties.
Resnick, you're not a part of the group. Stop making up things about the adventure.
Great
Also-
this.
Also, what
entertaining
you're saying,
himself,
Resnick, wouldn't work. Because if that happened, I'm pretty sure they would shut down the ship.
Yeah. But I'm performing.
Maybe I should add extra more sideburns for AC.
Additional sideburns.
What, does
12
your character
sideburns.
just have...
It's the 70s. We're allowed to have gigantic mutton chops.
You have so many sideburns that even your sideburns have sideburns.
Yes.
The fact that I had mutton chops at one point makes the...
Hmm.
Do you want us to send you our character sheets or whatnot, Miyoko?
Nah.
No.
Nah, you're good. Let's see. The other thing to remember, the way this story is going to be told, and I'm going to reveal something, it's going to start off with you guys meeting the DJ. You're meeting the DJ at their radio station for the city, and you will be telling your story narratively. I am going to be brushing up on my DJ Professor K from Jet Set Radio Future so that I can talk like that guy.
Cool.
Jet Set Radio!
Jet Set Radio! Man,
Takes me back.
I fucking love Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, not sponsored, unfortunately, but make a fucking sequel! Or remake it again!
I mean, it's on Steam.
Jet Set Radio is on Steam, and I have it. The unfortunate thing is they don't have the original game does not have a way to speed your character up as you're grinding, so it makes the game very, very, very difficult later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's broken. Got it. It's unfortunate because I bought it.
Yeah.
I only ever
Playable,
played
it's
Future,
just
so
difficult.
yeah. So yeah.
Give me just a moment. Talk more amongst yourselves about your characters. Just if any other hook ideas that you may have.
Well, I mean, how long have Jeff and Leone been partners?
You said you were born in 1950.
32. I joined the force in 1950.
I was born in 1950. My character was.
Right.
So, I guess. Second, let me do math. 20, maybe
Roughly
7.
1968 is when you turned 18. So
Yeah, so I was thinking 1970. So
all right,
maybe a few years.
5 to 7 years.
Yeah, I'd say about 5 years.
Long enough for our families to know each other.
Right.
Right.
Blake Erie met you both 3 years ago.
And has been a tumor in our thighs ever.
I heard a rumor, but I'm not a tumor, yeah. I can't. I'm fucking up the David Bowie vibe I want to go for.
Add more British to it.
Add a bit more British.
A little better.
Like I keep trying to like bring it into a jazzy or bluesy type thing, and it's not.
You're turning into a crooner.
Yes, that's the problem. It's like I had a solid idea, and now I'm just like going that way out of habit.
Brush up on your 1970s Bowie, so the Star Child Bowie,
Yes.
because that's the one that's big at the time of the game. Actually, 77, he'd be starting to turn to he'd be the Thin White Duke at this point.
Yeah, he'd be doing Station to Station in '78, so.
I know. I'm saying like he's probably in his Thin White Duke persona now, or no, he'd still be Star
Oh
Child.
wow. Okay, no, yeah. Well, Station to Station was actually '76, so I guess I was wrong there. So he'd just be coming off of Thin White Duke going
Be off the
into
Star Child
Golden.
and into the Thin White Duke.
Yeah, but then again, like my character is like his own thing, and he really thinks that he's an alien, so he might still be Star Childy kind of, or Halloween Jack.
Slightly behind the times.
Changes.
Changes.
That's what I put down for his hair color on his rap sheet.
Nice.
Yeah. And his gender is male mostly.
Also accurate to the 70s.
Okay.
Make way for the Homo Superior.
That's actually one of the aliases I put down for him, Homo Superior.
I could believe David Bowie being a mutant.
Oh boy. I'm not even in the chat, so I can't see what's going on.
Resnick's talking about David Bowie.
Yeah.
As you should be. On account of Bowie is awesome.
I would be king.
At least until the 90s. Anyway.
I actually kind of liked a lot of like the stuff that he came up with like from 1990 onward. It was like completely off the wall, but
And that's fair because there's a little Bowie for everyone.
The only things I've really had in regards to Bowie that I know of is Labyrinth and Space Oddity.
Okay.
Though I honestly don't know anything else Bowie has done, not off the top of my head.
Let's just say he went through a lot of persona changes over the years.
A lot of changes already did that joke.
Right.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention that Jeff is married. His wife's name is Margot. No kids though.
Right. Leon is single.
And who the hell knows what Blake Erie's into himself, and he claims that he's married to stars.
unless he did a lot of coke one night and got married without knowing. That actually wouldn't be a bad adventure though.
Oh, excuse me.
The next
Pizza's
day,
coming
trying
back.
to figure out what happened.
Not just the next day. I mean, like this is like something that happened like a week ago or something like that, and all of a
Right.
sudden, Mrs. Erie shows up, or Mr. Erie. I'm not judging.
He's married to a clone of himself.
Not out of the realm of possibility on account of X-Tech.
Right.
You're never alone when you've got a clone.
We made someone from your brain patterns on who would be your optimal partner. It's yourself.
I love it.
Oh boy.
Like, specifically, like the idea that I had going into this, was like originally I was gonna do like Jermaine Clements, like version of David Bowie, but bad. So like, I don't know if you ever seen the Flight of the Conchords.
Yes, I have.
Have you ever seen the David Bowie skits?
Yes.
Yeah, and Bowie in space. And also the fart from Rick and Morty and the giant crab from Moana. I was gonna just
And the David
incorporate all of that.
Venture Brothers.
Yeah, but that's not Jermaine Clement though.
No, that's true.
But yeah. Let me see here.
I'm looking forward to this because I haven't been a player of Spirit of 77. I've only DM'd it or DJ'd it, I guess. Case. Unless you count me playing as the high as balls Sasquatch. When running Beastbound and Down.
Maybe.
I don't know. When you have an NPC who's essentially a party member in all but name.
Right.
Except I went completely against what the book was asking for. I took the basic idea of the book and I was like, wouldn't it be great if I made Sasquatch high?
Well, isn't that what you're supposed to do with RPGs in general? Tabletop RPGs in general? Just like take what you want from the rules and make the rest up.
I tend to make shit up as I go when I DM.
Right.
I find it's more fun that way, and also less plans being ruined.
Yeah. Like I mean I have in my game I have things like kind of half planned, but it's more like open world sandboxy type stuff where it's like it gets you like it happens if you get to it, but if you don't get to it, whatever.
Yeah.
And there is like an overarching, plot, but yeah, it's not something that's like heavily planned.
Right.
I tried my hand at railroading. I don't like it.
Yeah, I
But
don't either. And what sucks is like I'm kind of being like in my game I'm being actually no, I shouldn't bring that up because there are people who watch the game in the chat, so I'm not going to do that for fear of
shameless
spoiling
plug.
things.
Insert shameless plug here.
You can find me at you just click on my name, you'll find me.
You can find me at wherever these books are sold. Anyway, but yeah, I did make a campaign once for Pathfinder. Was it Pathfinder? God.
I don't know, I wasn't there.
Miyoko would know. I did one based on the Avernum games, or the first Avernum specifically. Suffice it to say, the party managed to deal with the Nephilim fortress long before it became a threat.
Ooh.
So, yeah, they managed to kill all the cat people.
Wow.
Well, because, like, the longer you take to deal with the Nephilim fortress, the stronger the Nephilim fortress, or the more fortified the fortress becomes, and the stronger the soldiers guarding it get.
Yep.
It was kind of like, shit, what's that one campaign in Pathfinder? I don't remember. It's been a long time. It was like basically like the world evolves around you kind of deal.
Oh. Well, I mean, there's like a couple. Oh shit! No. Stop it, D. Don't ruin your own plot points.
But yeah, the group decided, let's go deal with the threat now, and we'll do other stuff afterwards. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, I had only written up to the point of the Nephilim fortress, so I didn't have anything planned after that, and that is why I didn't want to do any railroading shit after that.
Yeah. No, I prefer things to kind of just sort of go organically, but at the same time, sometimes time constraints happen, and yeah.
It does help to have at least an outline of what you want.
Yes. I'm being intentionally vague because, again,
Yeah. All right.
there's viewers, like a couple regulars in the chat. But speaking of things that sparkle, though, which nobody brought up until just now, I decided that I'm going to use my 2 silver-plated D6s for my rolls when we get this started.
For your thing.
I mean, like real-world thing,
Your real thing.
Because I kind of got suckered into buying these when I was in college because
Oh yeah.
I was like super dice collecting mad human.
I've got metal dice in real life. Then they're fucking heavy. I love it.
Yeah, these are just like I think they're hollow because they're not that heavy. They're just plated.
These things you could probably kill somebody with.
I mean, I could probably make somebody choke on these, but other than that, I don't think I could. No, the one die that I had that would be lethal would be the softball-sized D20, with the sharp corners.
All right.
Yeah, that would definitely kill somebody.
I am back.
Like-
Apologies for that long absence, but continue.
Oh, no worries, I was done. I'm just bullshitting.
No.
I mentioned the Abernum campaign that I made a long time ago.
I heard a little bit about that. Yeah.
You were
I
part
do.
of-
Yeah, I'm at the story you were telling.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it reminded, or loosely based on the Pathfinder module, or not module, but campaign that the world evolves around you kind of deal. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it.
Kingmaker.
That's the one.
Yep. I do miss that one. It's a shame that it's a shame that the file got corrupted.
I think I still have mine for Kingmaker.
Ooh.
I still have the first two books of Kingmaker. It's a great system. It definitely needs work, but it is great for a, I don't want to say first test run because they did others, but it's good for what it is.
Yeah.
Definitely, I will say it allows for a lot of breaking the game, which has to be very strictly rolled back by the DM. But it's still stuff that can be done before the game ever starts, and just making sure people understand what your personal stance on that is and what you are and are not going to allow.
Yeah.
Because, like, with Pathfinder, at least with Kingmaker, one of the things that that they have is that your kingdom earns does not earn money per se. They instead earn build points. But you can take money out of the treasury at the cost of build points. The problem is that whenever you do that, you have to make a loyalty check for your kingdom and see whether or not your people get pissed off at you for doing that.
How dare you embezzle?
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. The issue with that is you could literally build like 4 buildings, and oh, is that a category, Shadzar? Yes, this is a RPG. Yeah, I did not know tabletop RPGs was a category. Thank you for letting me know. I will switch that over. I appreciate that.
Oh. Yeah, shit, I didn't even think of that.
No, it's all good. There we go.
just a
But,
question, did we need to go through anything else tonight, or-
Very quickly, I'm going to run over the just the player's agenda. This is not stuff that you absolutely have to do, but these are good pieces of advice that the creators give to the players. And I'm going to say them for you guys and for the viewers at home. I'm sure you guys have already read these. Obviously, the very first one is active participation. They're just basically talking about role-playing your character out. The second one, however, is go big or go home. Pretty much, this is, do you take the low-risk, subtle way, or do you take the high-risk, high-action way? And you are heavily encouraged to take the high-risk, high-action way, because this is an action movie. The final 2 things is share the mic. Just essentially try to find ways to involve the other characters if possible. It's not always going to happen that way, of course, but if possible, please do so. And finally, stick it to the man. And that's where we're going to leave off for the night. Thank you, everybody, for... No, Shadzar, not, this is not the tabletop version of the Pathfinder video game. This is the system we're using is Spirit of 77 for a completely different game, but we were discussing Pathfinder for a little bit. Anyway, hope everybody has a good night. It is like 11 o'clock. I might be back with some Batman Arkham Origins. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But if I'm not back, hope you all have enjoyed this little character creation thing, and are looking forward in 2 weeks when we start the adventure. Thank you, D, Dan, and Salix for joining me.
Have a good long weekend, everybody.
And have a good night.